reacting to this when it's still fresh. I might put this one up early. I'm not sure.
Cool.
It's Anthony Bennett, who's a friend of the show, kind of. Like, I interacted with this guy a bit last year. Like, he did this color on black cat over Christmas break 2022. Kevin and I reacted to. And at that time, it was like, because this thing went viral for a lot of people who don't pay attention to tattoos, this was their first interaction with color on black, which is silly to me, but I'm too into it, you know, like I'm too on the inside of things. So
right.
I've seen color on black projects back 15 years ago that the problem was they were just never explained or shared with the public, really. So they were just like anomalies, and wonder what that looks like now. And so now we have lots of, you know, people out there doing this, and some people doing it better and some people doing it worse, right? And Anthony Bennett's cat went very viral. Now, he did, I think, a few other little ones, didn't go quite as viral after that. But for the record, in terms of like the color on black that I've seen, not done at this shop, I think his is some of the best out there, like all things said. And even in this one, I see that he's learned from his last one. Like the techniques I see in here, there's a lot of contrasting on contrasting, right? Like black bordering blue and black in between the blue again, right? And then same thing, the red is bordered by black, which has light white in the center of it, and then more red bordered by black. Like, these are tricks that you do in coloring over top of black.
Right.
These things. This is the same reason why the first version of this sleeve was, a lot of people were like, oh, I wish you had left it black, like the white and black on black and none of the red. It's like, no, because then it wouldn't work. Not properly, not for a long time. Because what would happen is the edges of that black, like the black on black, they start to kind of soften, and then they're very similar to the background, the black round, right?
The black round.
The dynamic black is it is dissimilar from Panthera black in tone, but the distinction between the two blacks isn't as extreme as what happens if you take the black background and turn it red.
Okay, go ahead.
Now there's no similarity between.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these are. He has done many things in this tattoo that I understand to be very clever that most people
smart
won't.
tattooing. I saw this. This is viral right now. I saw it recently.
Who hasn't seen it now, right?
Yeah.
I've been tagged in this a million times. I keep getting tagged in it. And I've been tagged in it so many times that Instagram has stopped notifying me on it.
Yeah.
Because people are using me constantly as defense of this piece. Like, I am tagged in any color on black tattoo.
Oh, yeah, because it works, and people are saying it doesn't work, right?
So... tagged. Yeah, I just screenshotted a few. So I screenshotted some like nasty tattoo comments too. But yeah. Anyway, the point is,
what are the nasty comments?
There's all kinds of comments. People talking about, oh, the reasoning why this won't work. There's this guy that came in and talked about how he wrote a book on tattoos in the 90s. This guy, someone said it best to this guy when they said, it's like talking to a wall. This guy doesn't know his thumb from his dick.
Yeah.
Like, stop talking. You're out. You're done.
Right.
You're done. People like that guy are in the past, firmly in the past, and nothing he has to say is valid here. You can read what he said if you want.
Which
the guy who wrote the book in the 90s, and he went on to say he's 50 years old and he was tattooing before I was born, and which is not true.
Right.
So I'm a lot older than people think I am.
This one says the physiology behind why these won't hold is because tattoo ink is encapsulated in pools subcutaneously. When the color over is fresh, the colors appear separately, but as time and age goes on, the inks will mix and the darker pigment
from the start.
Yeah, the darker pigment meets the brightness and it is unavoidable. Tattoo ink has a hard time migrating. Literally, that's why colors traditionally don't blend. He just contradicted himself.
Guy has no idea what he's talking about. Hose him off and send him out to sea. He's done.
But the way our dermis lives allows the inks to mix vertically over time. Tattooers at my shop tried color over blackout in the 90s. It didn't last. Also, I literally wrote a book on tattooing black back when books were relevant. What?
Yeah, no, he didn't write anything and no one read it. Whoever this guy is, he has no clue what he's talking about. So let me actually explain how things work from the standpoint of someone who has more of this work than anyone who's ever lived.
Right.
And for that matter, most likely more tattoo work than anyone who's ever lived. When you put red into black, it's already mixing. It's mixing from day one. It doesn't just mix 10 years down the road.
Well, especially like your ink, I mean, it probably does sink a little bit, but it doesn't sink a lot. Otherwise, all of your tattoos would blow out.
Listen, we're not painted walls here.
Yeah.
Like, the mixing happens immediately.
Well, yeah, you're pushing ink in and it's going down, and then your cells are like taking it and eating it, and they're moving it around. Like, it's mixing at that moment.
If you have a cup of water and you keep dumping red ink in there and you had black ink in there,
right?
It's only so long before that black ink becomes red ink.
Well, and the other thing too is
it's about thoroughly saturating the old ink with the new color.
And your arm is proof of
course,
the current mix, because when you tattooed that, it wasn't the red that came out of the bottle. If we tattooed that red on fresh skin, it would be bright ass red. But
no, that wouldn't be, because the color we used was a darker red.
But it would be a more vibrant version, because this has the black in it. It looks different. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying.
It also has
it mixed
a thicker texture to it too.
Yeah.
But like, you can get bright red over black. I've already done that.
Well, I'm not saying that you can't. I'm just saying that it's not the same color. It's coming out.
It's never going to be the same.
Because you're mixing it with black. That's why what this guy is saying isn't true.
Yeah, it takes on a different life. It takes on like a thicker, like, I actually kind of prefer the color that you get when you get reds mixed with blacks.
Yeah.
That being said, one pass is not enough. A lot of these guys were lazy. This guy strikes me as someone who has no idea what he's talking about to begin with.
Whoa.
But greater than that is the fact that they probably did one or two passes and went, well, that didn't fucking work. Why not do that again? That hurt. Oh my God, that hurt. Why would you do that again? It's like, because you can only put so much ink into a hole in one session.
The other thing too is, like, I mean, so he's saying this is from tattooing in the 90s. Tattoo ink was different in the 90s.
Everything was different. The techniques were worse.
The machines were different in the 90s. The ink was different in the 90s. Like, everything was different in the 90s. So,
that said,
this may not, and I say this very skeptically, may not have worked in the 90s. I think it would have.
I think it would have worked.
I think it would have. I really think it would have.
You know what?
It may not have.
If I was in the 90s, I would still be doing this.
Oh, of course you would have.
I would still be doing it.
You would have made it work.
Because they said it wouldn't work now.
Yeah.
Right? It was said that it doesn't work now. And it worked. That doesn't mean... that means it probably would have worked at any point if someone had been patient enough. So, yeah. And then there's some more stupid comments.
Yeah, there's lots of, you can't do color on black.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I live with you.
Yeah.
Your colors are as vibrant or more vibrant than they are in this video now. I'm looking at you versus the screen, and you're actually more vibrant.
There are people who come in here with color tattoos, and their tattoos on negative space are duller than mine over black.
Oh, yeah, that's because the artist can't put the ink in.
That's what most of these tattooers are. Most of the guys who say you can't saturate color on black can barely saturate color on normal skin.
Right.
They're like, okay. These are the same guys who are probably like, red ink will never last in the skin. You can't saturate. Like, I've heard stuff like that. Those are bad tattooers. Those aren't guys who know what's up. Those are guys who never learned how to do their job.
Right.
Those are guys that are fucking people up for a living, and they shouldn't be trusted. A good artist can do this work. It doesn't even take much. You've already covered black.
Yeah, I've covered black.
You've already covered black.
I've covered black with color.
Yeah. It worked.
It does work.
You've been tattooing for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
Ashlyn has done this several times.
Oh yeah,
we had
she's done
one
it
of the
too.
apprentice at the shop who's been tattooing for a year, who has several times done this. Mm-hmm. Several times has done that, and did one where she's created a realistic wolf over the shop bum. He has some bullshit on his arm. I was just like, just blast a fucking wolf over it.
Yeah, and use opaques.
Opaques and black.
Yeah.
And guess what? He's got a wolf now.
Yeah, and then she had done that rose on a foot.
Yeah,
you can't even see.
The rose was red on green.
Yeah, and you can't even see the green because she did smart shading.
Oh, but someone out there is gonna be like, oh, but your green's gonna come back from no, bud. The green's not gonna come back.
No.
The green is mixed with the red now, and it's gone.
And because she did smart shading, the green is in the shaded areas, and she used colors that made sense for the shading, so you wouldn't even know if the green came back.
Even if you didn't do that, if you put enough pigment into another pigment,
oh yeah,
before long it becomes that pigment.
Yeah,
it just does. I've done so many things now where like I've had the same tattoo 5-6 different colors.
Oh yeah.
And some jackass is gonna be like, yeah, but you don't ever let it age. It's never more than a few months old. How would you? That's not true. My armpit tattoos, for example, haven't been touched in close to 3 years.
Oh, and your head tattoos? Like you have stuff on your
yeah,
head
these
flowers
roses were bright red and they're fucking gray now.
Yeah.
They've got a bit of a pink tinge.
And they're a few years old.
Yeah,
at least.
Yeah. But like my armpit tattoos I'm using specifically for this because those have not been touched since we finished them. Mm-hmm. And one of them was only passed once.
Yeah.
The other one was passed twice, color on black.
And it's in your armpit.
They're perfect. They're the way they were when we left them. I will hit them again, and some asshole will be like, look, he's touching up his tattoo again. So I want to bolden the colors.
Yep.
This is not a touch-up. Second and third passes are not touch-ups.
And the key word there is boldening the colors, because
the
more color you pump in there, the bolder the color gets, right? Because you're muting out that black by adding more color, right? It's just like a bucket. You have a bucket with a little bit of black, you add red. It's going to be a little bit of a reddy black. You keep adding red, that black is going to start to disappear, and you're going to get more red.
Balance.
Yes, and then there's no black in the balance. That is how it works.
These light blue highlights, that was fucking pitch black at one point.
I know, and it's crazy.
This was pitch black. These were pitch black.
Yeah.
I am literal evidence of this working.
Yeah.
You can reference me to these clowns and they'll say, oh, that's all editing.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here with an iPhone camera in a darkly lit tattoo shop. We've got no light over here.
Oh, yeah.
We're sitting in a fucking dark corner with a ring light. It's fucking dark over here.
My corner is pretty dark.
I do vlogs I sometimes forget to put my phone camera in.
I know, and your tattoos
and I'm like, well, I guess the audio sucks. I'm not redoing it. There's no way I'm redoing it. I don't have time. I barely have time to put the pants on to make these videos. And there are people out there who are like, oh, that's edited. Remy doesn't really look like... No, Remy's tattoos look better in person.
Photoshop your tattoos on every day.
Yeah, I can barely be bothered to do these videos, let alone fucking edit them for ages to make the... Like, the things that these people are willing to... Like, the logical loopholes they're willing to jump through to assume these things are all fake. It's insane.
There's no editing or filters to brighten these colors.
My tattoos will be here until I cover them.
Yep.
And like, it doesn't matter what you think. If you think they won't be, you're just wrong. You don't get to argue. That's like saying the earth is flat.
Yeah.
Like you're telling people when they're looking at color on black tattoos healed, you're telling them the sky is green.
Oh yeah.
And these guys are all eating it up.
Right.
Like there's a circle jerk happening in these comment sections of stupidity.
You know, these guys have all done, probably the tattoo artists that are saying that that it doesn't work. They've all done successful cover-ups.
Not all of them, no. A lot of them are terrible tattooers and they don't do cover-ups.
Okay, well, they ignore cover-ups. Well, no. They ignore that evidence.
They'll say that like those things will fade away in the cover-up, but the reason why the cover-up stood is because they did enough hiding and masking, and you know what I mean? Like they'll always have like weird workarounds for their bad logic. They'll always have like some fucking like they'll shift the goal. Like if you show them, because first they'll say in a week that'll be gone, right? Then they'll say in 2-3 weeks it's gone.
Yeah.
Then they'll be like, oh, it's 6 months. Now it's 2 years.
I want to see it in 15 years.
Now
you
it's
know what?
10
I want to
years.
see everybody's tattoos in 10 years.
Every tattoo looks worse in 15 years, you fucking moron. Not one of them looks better in that time. You can like it more if you want. I mean, that's up to you.
I have a 10-year-old tattoo that looks really, really good.
It still looks good, but it looks the edges are soft.
Oh, yeah. Because
the colors are more muted than they were even when I met you.
Yep.
They just are. That's fucking tattoos for you, fucking asshole.
Right?
No tattoo stays the same as the day you got it. And if you think it did, you're insane.
It's true. I agree.
So we're not talking about 10 years from now.
No.
Because if we're going to do that, then I want to see every color tattoo 10 years from now.
Right.
They're all going to be different. But if you really think I'm going to wake up and everything is just going to be black one day, you need a fucking reality check, buddy. You really think this sleeve is just going to turn black overnight one day?
No.
It's not going to happen.
The color ink doesn't just disappear, and more black ink doesn't just appear.
Well, maybe it won't disappear, but it'll be muddy. Yeah, okay, bud, sure.
Yeah.
Why would you wish that it would be anyway?
Right.
Like, why would a tattooer want this to be fake?
Because they're lazy.
Because
That's
they
all
don't
I
want
can
to
think
learn
of.
anything. Like, they want to eat their fucking bowl of Cheerios every morning they've been eating every day for the last 20 years and stick their heads up their asses.
Yeah.
That's what they want. Because it's easy. They want to do Pinterest tattoos every day and never have to question anything. And all of a sudden, Remy comes along and some of these other guys that are doing this now. And it's like, oh, well, he's shaking up the formula. That's bad. Let's make him go away.
Right.
Because actually, like, my other point is a lot of these guys are, I think, the reason why I've lost some of my accounts, too.
Oh,
I
probably.
do. The more time goes on and the more hate I get for these sorts of things, you see it every time one of these is posted. The backlash. I don't think tattooers want my work being out there.
I think some tattooers don't want your work being out there.
More than you think.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of people who don't like the fact that I'm showing these tattoos healed because it makes their entire argument invalid.
Right. I agree.
Or they'll start saying things like, oh, well, he gets a million touch-ups. How many touch-ups do I get?
Not.
Really? Like, when am I touching things up?
You don't touch...
I couldn't get a whole bodysuit of this shit if I
Yeah.
was always chasing my tail.
You don't touch things up.
Change them.
You change things, and the things that you have touched up have needed touch-ups, and that's, like, very, like...
It's all like the language is wrong. Like when you
Yeah.
get a second pass, that's not a touch up on any color tattoo.
No.
A blackout tattoo, it's typically going to need 2 passes.
Right.
Anything that's a big field of one color or tone, it should be expected to need 2 to 3 passes.
And the only tattoo that I can right now at this exact moment say that I've seen you touch up, quote unquote, actual touch up, is the very top of your head.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah.
Because every time you grow hair back, no matter what, that thing fucking fades.
Yeah, the head
it's
and my
just-
chin. Oddly enough, my
yeah,
chin.
and it's not the flowers on the sides, it's that vampire bat on the
Yeah,
top.
it gets softer. But like there's some areas that are harder
But
to
that's
saturate.
not a on black tattoo. That's a
also think
normal tattoo.
Our heads and faces see a lot of sun.
Yeah.
So, but those aren't even color. Like my chin was just black, and
that's
my
nothing
head was
on
black and gray.
And the top of your head, that's not an over top of black tattoo.
No.
So that's like a null and void argument. But anyways.
Yeah, no, I think that this tattoo will be just fine, and I think he's planning on doing the work that it's going to take. It will be no surprise to me when this is posted healed because he's posted the rest of his stuff, and then they'll just put past the buck. And all the tattooers that are denying that this tattoo will work, they'll just vanish. They don't admit defeat. They just go flog the next color on black tattoo that's fresh. These assholes are immune to facts.
Well, and I just
They're
don't know
immune to
why we
proof.
can't just be a community and be like, hey, that's cool.
It's good for the industry that you
Yes.
can do this.
It's good for the industry.
It's not bad for the industry that
Yeah.
you can do this.